We are the next world, especially the youth of Africa. This is the only green continent left for us. There's no other green continent. So we should wake up and take leadership positions and change Africa. You have to be a billionaire. Your business has to be precedes you. Your business has to be ahead of you. Do you think my name is McDan? So people now call me by my business.
Not your real name.
Not my real name.
It's a round of applause. When Kwame Nkrumah said a black man is capable of managing his own affairs, this is what he meant.
Abusianfo e mo bibia akwa baba AKB TV so then the first time we dey share a video I message say but modern na subscribe button so like share who groups bi mu a message say but modern na share this video egu groups in say be afoforo so ebenye bi no hwe abusia ensemo a etwagu na che say ya bobo no a dey ba bedom na abusia video a che say ya ba beka ho asema na say nkomo a ne ye nyina ya ba bedie na ya kire ya adwen no abusia eye abranti a ye friend McDan eye richest man in Ghana or McDan or say a businessman what be a biggest mining company at say abusia enye we de galamsey enye gold no mutu na enchene no mo produce na abusia this factory a abranti here friend McDan mo amunim no a che say mo de munim no wonim so betia ko gogo no aboni din no McDan obehu nipa ban oye richest businessman in Ghana oye Utah Sebi adwe no eboda ho na abusia abranche we say mining site or be in Ghana na abusia this mining site no employ almost 2,000 people in that mining site omo produce enchene this mining site McDan abi no abusia this mining site produce almost 600,000 metric tons of enchene in a day in a day. This abranti friend McDan ne factory would be the mining factory and also the mining site would be no. Abusia this factory no in a month producing almost $6 billion in a month. This mining factory abranti tria tax the government no. Na na me bisa me question ye nyina ye musa question say edie nti na sebi ye wo oman a ye frɛ no Ghana oman enye kuro oman a ye frɛ no Ghana na Nyankopɔn adom ye aboan all the resources na sebi ye mpanimfo yi tuka hwi sɛ omokobie factory omokobie company ano a obekum na ye toilet na omokobie ano omokose ye kobie one district one factory a ubekom na 2 bedroom self-contained BC baby vitire baby ni akwese yekobie factory na individual private person only one person etimie bie mining factory abusuya edaho no mohwe mining factory kakrakai edaho no mi only one person etimie bie this factory produce almost 6,000 metric tons of enchene after almost 2,000 people, Ghanaian youth omo ye adwuma de ma this factory. Tria taxes de ma oman Ghana. Na oman as a nation yetimi be 2 bedroom self-contained say a factory sabi oman Ghana na busunya enti ye wo gina bre papa bi. Ye wo baby papa oman we ye mpanimfo ye MPP ni NDC we say omo de ye ko. Abusunya ye ba ko video no. Na okasa wie no so no wasa throne support McDan no o throne support dia ma youth na ye ba no say yen ma yanimre na yen fa ye man ni ani so because MPP ni NDC akofo ado mahama omo nyina omo bɔ mo bra wie omo wia aman ni sika de agu ama omo mama ababedi oti ase yen youth na sabi ye ba me yani abre ni ape youth ni da ho because o hwe Ghana successful companies, successful private companies or more Ghanaian, they are youth. They are young people are omu ni obi a yep omu ma men no papa mu ashada so. Omu ye youth a omu ye hustlers a omatimi ahosel apagya ebeni na Kwame Bediako sheda oti ase ne maame ne papa omunye richest omunye politicians oti ase but because of nyansa Nyankopon de ama no ene botaya owosi nani so daache ede ma ono no ho ene na Kwame Bediako ye ka richest people mo Ghana oka ho bi ene say nipa we say antena ho anka ne nan anto so say oh mentena ho metena ho dia ye hwehan amasa MPP ne dis we buo man ne kwase ya koso buo man awia man sika na ene na Kwame Bediako atu ne ho si wo say obeje o man ne si wa abusunya youth mo me fe supporting tie na chi na mo de me ma me kasa nche mo me yanko video na McDan or chere amount of money or make you free this mining factory will be and crofo our employ womo and children do or producing in a day any amount of money or make it in a month. Abusia mama yanko video numra ye buy bet that you because you say aha AKB TV. And no first time I share video now, but more than subscribe, like, share, groups in my copy link and share groups in him. Na amount for so enye bi hwe mo me enko video no emra
hai asante achino plantation factory na tracker no abanka say ya bie plantation factory ama asante achino youth constituency we so omunya adwuma ye entieni wo de hwe ekwan no kwa di adanse say ade na esi woni mponya adwuma ade na aban bi aba tracker nim say ye adwuma ma youth de nya adwuma da kwan let's say we are doing here. We shall track any mass and teach nota. A woman say 100% a year, Mamma Yanko. Lawyer appear could be a year MP. Odna, and Rashabe drum catch a Ghana for say, your plantation factory be a year, Juma was Santiachum not consequent.
In my own constituency, Santiachum, and in Agugo, to be specific, we have a factory that is processing plantain. Myself, I'm a plantain farmer, so I discharge plantain to the factory. And it is onwardly exported to Canada.
Sadian year, Juma, the Amumian Shadi. Transform as ye, Shawayanas. Why are the this year? The factory, yes, ma. Why are you? And no concern. Now, for what you meet a crown more factory. Meet some boom more factory. No. How come say I buy better track about the children of what's it? Your plantation factory, I hear Juma, Asante Acham North constituency. Our lawyer appear could. Edna. Parliament House, I catch the Ghana for say, ya de body free for Canada. Nanso factory new brand, meet and put mom. Meet and mom. And can you see factory fire? Say 2-bedroom full. And yes, I say, where ye mama constituency mu youth. Oba constituency a youth will be a peer for her. Obia shall the constituency. One shall say, I didn't know one part. Yamen Chad. One district, one factory, no plantation factory, no Asante Achim no. Yes, it's here any. Now so nya juma. Now so what the about track and say, yeah, juma ma you to a Asante Achim no. Nya juma.
Factory in the almost bet be anywhere cost to stand.
Be bianco. Yes, it's you.
Yes, it's you.
Mo board and mo ana mo.
Ya na ya ton ya de wo mo fi taprade Togo na step for no mo master Accra. I no pan ho you need be
bi anya adwuma. Factory. Eye adwuma. E na omo de board ani fi yakọ Canada.
E ti bla so free free mu a o so bibi ye adwuma.
Ya de be share.
Ya de wo obi a. Enra kwa kwa ko ende
Factory.
Master, factory dey so baby bi enu aye adwuma wo mu.
Yan fa youth bia.
Hwan. Master Jawuti bi bo wo bi de nka hu.
Ba mo an bia pia ku bi na eka.
Master Jaya pia ku bi nsam no odidi mi anato na nchirechire mu. Onye ahwe.
Factory ni secret to plan ya. Like to put ya adwuma. Ki imponi anta factory ya. Ye be jai funa to. Abaya se sika o. Ye sika ketewa o. Ya ja we si wura. Ghana for performance tracker no o constituency na so wa check ya hwese aban na ye adwuma ne so na ye adwuma ye nyina ye Ghana for ye sika na bia ye Asante Achim youth for wona aban si ade we ye adwuma mamu na na adodan ko akufo do nim se ade we mu nya so mfaso na so nya adwuma ade we esi ya esi muram 2-bedroom enie to opia nhwe bi
To be a billionaire, your business has to be precedes you. Your business has to be ahead of you. Do you think my name is McDan? So people now call me by my business.
Not your real name.
Not my real name.
It's a round of applause. When Kwame Nkrumah said a black man is capable of managing his own affairs, this is what he meant. What makes Electrochem the biggest salt mine company in the whole of Africa?
Well, currently is the size that we're sitting on and the quantity we mine. Currently we are mining about 600,000 metric tons. So that's the uniqueness of this place.
Production, and it's all done by you. Why did you decide to take on such a mantle all by yourself?
Well, we are living in a country where some of us have to be pace setters and also dare. We cannot always look at the foreigners and outside world that they can do what we cannot do. We can do bigger things and better things than this.
But I feel like currently what you guys are doing is more like a manual salt mining.
Yes, so it's because this is a major source of employment for the people of Ada and the surrounding areas. So we want to keep this culture and keep this method of this form of employment for them. As we expand in the other areas, we will go into mechanized mining.
A round of applause, man, a round of applause. Welcome to Electrochem, the biggest salt mine in the entire continent of Africa. What makes Electrochem the biggest salt mine company in the whole of Africa?
Well, currently is the size that we're sitting on and the quantity we mine. Currently we are mining about 600,000 metric tons. So that's the uniqueness of this place.
And the size?
The size is 41,000 acres.
Currently, that's what you're mining?
No. Currently, we are only mining at a small portion of the... We're looking at doing 5 million all the way to 10 million metric tons.
I saw the yearly goal for next year.
Yeah.
It's like you want to go as high as 1 million.
1 million metric tons, yeah.
And if that happens, you don't think you're going to change the economy of this country?
Definitely. Definitely, I mean.
Is that your biggest goal?
Yes, and do beyond that.
Something like this?
Actually, you need courage. You need an unlimited courage.
Oh my goodness, unlimited.
That's what takes you far.
Did you ever face any challenge when you decided to bring this dream into reality?
Well, this is the place for about 55 years. Anybody who tried failed.
Wow.
Nobody could come here and succeed. So I walk down here. I drove down here from the beginning. I asked myself, am I being brave or being stupid? But one thing that keeps echoing in my mind that, look, 99% of the people will say you are wrong. You have to listen to them. It's either you are making a big mistake or you are making history.
Are you making history or you're making a big mistake?
Well, we haven't finished yet, but I believe that we have come too far to be making mistakes.
It's always done by the government. But you won't believe that this one person, an individual, is doing all this. And I just want to know, why did you decide to take on such a mantle all by yourself?
Well, we are living in a country where some of us have to be pace setters and also dare. We cannot always look at the foreigners and outside world that they can do what we cannot do. And my policy, I can. And luckily, I have some good people around me who are making all this happen, who read within my vision to say, look, I am going with you. It hasn't been an easy journey. If you don't have the guts, you don't have what it takes, you will stop by the way. And here we are. A lot of people around me are reading through the vision and they are catching up with the vision.
I'm reading something interesting. I just want to ask a question about it. As chief servant, is that t-shirt belongs to you?
Yeah, that's mine.
Why you called a chief servant?
Actually, when I come here, I don't sit in the office. I'm on the field. I pick stones, I mine, I'm with excavator operators, I'm with the laborers. So those who do office job and who drive this place, they have their positions. So I come here and walk within the mine without detecting anything, just show direction. So I serve everybody here.
So you're the head of the servant, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
So the chief of the servant.
It feels amazing. Whenever I come up here, it feels like a spiritual experience.
How spiritual?
It's spiritual in the sense that this is the natural resource that God has given us. And every time you're up here, you can appreciate the magnitude of what we have. You can appreciate what God has given us.
Incredible, man. Can you simplify the process that happens from the ocean to salt on the table?
Okay, so when it comes to salt production, it's a very simple process. So you need 3 conditions to produce salt. That is, you need a sun, you need wind, and to get high quality salt, you need a long travel time. So from the intake, we have about 4 evaporators. So the brine from the sea, brine is basically salt water. The brine from the sea is pumped into the lagoon. We have a lagoon, and from the lagoon, we pump it into the evaporators. So the seawater travels from the lagoon through the evaporators into our reservoirs. Yes, so when it gets into the reservoirs, we have PCRs here. It goes into the PCRs. So from the intake to the evaporators to the reservoirs to the PCRs. PCRs are pre-crystallizers.
Yeah.
The main purpose of this process is to increase the salinity of the salt. It's to increase the quality of the brine. Because also, the more seawater travels, the more the impurities fall off. So with seawater, you don't just get sodium chloride, you get other minerals in it, such as magnesium, such as bromine, which are and sulfur. These are insolubles that are not good for salt. You just need pure sodium chloride. So to get pure sodium chloride, you need to travel the brine to allow the impurities to fall off, to get the highest quality of salt.
To produce 650,000 metric ton per annum, they have to get the raw materials from here. And the mechanism behind this is really mind-blowing. The fact that they've paved the way for the seawater. How did you guys do it?
All right, so we have equipment here every day. They open up the seashore, and then we put stones to create a barrier so that more sun doesn't come in. And beautifully, you open up the sea onto land, and it finds its way. So that's the beginning of the whole production process for the salt work, getting seawater onto land.
So, which means that the seawater is the raw material, and no chemical is added to get the...
Exactly, no chemical, purely natural, organic seawater that flows. No additives.
Is there any point that the water gets so high?
Yes, so, by nature, the sea has a high tide and low tide.
Okay.
Depending on the position of the moon.
Yeah.
So what we see now is actually the beginning of the high tide. This is not the peak. By 5 p.m., 6 p.m., it would overflow all these stones.
Wow.
And you can't cross it. Yeah, so it happens during the day and also during the month. But then we work here every day to take advantage of the fact that even if it's low tide, we work to get some intake. When it's high tide, then it's bumper harvest. After the seawater has been channeled from the sea into the lagoon, we use 3 vertical axial pumps to pump or lift the seawater into the bigger lagoon, which we call the evaporators. So the second stage is the evaporation stage. And that is where the plenty water molecules that are in the seawater has to evaporate. It travels sodium chloride salt. During the process, the unwanted ions that are in the salt, like magnesium, calcium, which we do not eat, we do not want in the salt we produce, they get to drop behind in the lagoon as it's traveling that 26 kilometers. And by the time it reaches the crystallizing stage, we have a pure sodium chloride that everybody can enjoy.
Right now we are on this is the industrial area. We call this the industrial area.
Okay.
And this is our salt washing plant. And it has a capacity of 125 tons per hour of salt. Yes.
125
metric tons of salt per hour.
I mean, in Ghana, everybody know you
to believe in themselves. I want the youth of this country to understand that we can. No matter how difficult it is, this is our own. We can.
Are you trying to say that it's possible to make it in Africa?
What else will you make it?
How does it feel to be the CEO of this great company?
To me, I think it's presidency within presidency. If you have an industry that has the potential to transform the fortune of this country. Yeah.
Why do you say that it's going to transform, the economy of this country?
We are going outside there looking for loans, Eurobond, for $350 million. We are not even getting it. Are you getting me? So this is an industry that can give you up to $6 billion US. So that being said, a lot of it will go into tax revenues. A lot of it will go into royalty to the government. So this is right in front of us here. And we can use this to transform this nation and become economically independent. We don't have to rely on loans. We don't have to rely on IMF and anything. The good thing about this too is that this is a private sector initiative. And being a private sector, not only private sector initiative, but indigenous industry owned by 100% owned locally. This is unprecedented. So we are sitting on history, and history is in the making.
How many people have you employed in here?
So far, currently, we have over 1,000 people directly on our payroll. And we have another close to 5,000 people indirectly making their living because of our existence in the community. As we sit right now, we need about 2,800 additional miners that will be employed as casual labor, miners, and what have you. So this is something to me is very significant, and it's something that we need to pay attention to.
How long has electric? If you had the chance to change one thing in Africa, what will it be?
It's ruin our own world. Ruin our own world. Our culture, we don't have to change anything about our culture. We have to be what we are. We have to grow in our own space. We don't need to copy too much.
Do you feel like we're copying too much?
I believe so. I believe so. We have gone closer to the world because of internet. We've gone very close because of the internet. Artificial intelligence has brought us very close to the West, but we cannot lose our values. Biggest challenge in my entrepreneurial journey is human resource. It's not money, it's nothing, but it's human resource. I believe in you get what you inspect. You don't get what you expect. You don't build this industry and go and sleep. It will collapse. You have to inspect. That is why I'm the chief servant. That is why I get here. I work in the dyes, I work in the evaporators. just to get it how I want. We are the next world, especially the youth of Africa. This is the only green continent left for us. There's no other green continent. So we should wake up and take leadership positions and change Africa.